Imagine a world where men and women are paid the same. There is no gender discrimination in the workplace, and both males and females bring home the same hourly wage from the same job. Today, I'm going to persuade you to fight back against the wage gap that women face in the United States. This has been argued for many years, and although it is slowly closing, the rate that it is closing at is not fast enough. From gender discrimination to ways to fight back, I will be presenting statistics about the wage gap and ways that women can work to get equal pay. According to Catherine Hill, author of The Simple Truth About the Gender Pay Gap, in 2014, women who worked full-time jobs were paid on average 21% less than males were. Although this is lower than it was in the 1970s, recent years' progression has stalled, and this means that women today will have to work 11 years extra just to break even to what men will make. Some might attribute this to working in lower-paying fields for women. However, according to the article Graduating to a Pay Gap by Christine Corbett and Catherine Hill, if two similar graduates, one male and one female, worked the same amount of hours in the same field at the same job, it is estimated that the woman will earn on average 7% less than the male. And this is especially true in male-dominated fields because it seems to be that the women aren't taken as seriously, therefore they aren't paid as much. Women need to take a stand against the wage gap because if it continues to close at the pace that it is right now, it will take 44 years or until 2059 to reach equality, according to the Institute for Women's Policy Research. This is especially affecting single mothers and unmarried women. The NWLC states that in 2013, the federal poverty level for a single mother with 2 children was just under $18,000. Now that means that almost 62% of those mothers were in poverty. Now after hearing this, I'm sure you want some ways that you can work at to combat the wage gap. I found some, and they are mostly outlined in 5 Ways Women Can Close the Pay Gap by Margaret Mangarini and Susie Popkett. One of the ways that you can combat the pay gap is by negotiating smarter from the beginning. At the interview or at the callback, always negotiate your pay wage. By negotiating, you might be able to get a higher salary. It's a very controversial issue because some people are hesitant to negotiate wages. But it is something that you should do so that way you can get a higher pay wage than what you would without. Another way is to push for promotions early on. Most women like to have families and start families around the age of 30. By that time, if they take off from work, they're already caught behind the men whenever they decide to come back. However, if you start to push for promotions early on and work your way up the ladder quickly, or before you start a family, you'll be able to come back to work around the same level as the men with you, or even higher. Another way is to work in a fairer field. Sometimes it's a lot easier to work in a higher paying male-dominated field rather than a lower paying female-dominated field. And I know that lots of times females aren't taken seriously working in a male-dominated field, but sometimes they might be taken more seriously compared to less so, and they might even be paid just as much, if not more, depending on how hard they work. And another way is to always make your achievements known to your coworkers and your managers and your bosses. For example, if you get the $1 million client of the month, then that's a good achievement to go and tell your coworkers. By telling your coworkers and your manager, they'll take note of that, and they'll remember you whenever it's time to get a promotion or a pay raise. They'll know who's first on their list because of the achievements that you made known. Of course, it isn't right to go around and making achievements known that are expected of you, but by making those achievements known that you are working above and beyond what everyone else is doing, they'll make sure that they know you whenever it's time for that promotion. Today, I aim to persuade you to fight back against the gender wage gap. This issue has not been given the attention or the advertising that it needs, and I believe that we can all work together to ensure that there will be pay equality for men and women. We can form a new world in which women and men both receive the same pay and the same hourly wages for the same job. Thank you.